One of the really great things about my job is getting to introduce you to people in the Charlotte area that you might not have the pleasure of knowing. And today that person is fine art photographer Ginger Wagner. Ginger does amazing things with a camera, and I'm so excited to show you her work and to give you an opportunity for your family to become subjects in one of Ginger's portraits and to benefit the women and children at the Shelter for Battered Women. Ginger, it's so good to see you again. I'm thrilled about your new work.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Tell me a little bit about your approach when you're working with, say, a family portrait, because it's not as simple as everyone just sort of showing up and being in front of the camera.
And some kids are more serious, some kids are really, really mischievous, some kids are very peaceful and quiet and bookworms, and I love really getting to know the members of a family so that when you go in and we get to go in and photograph them, you can let all those little nuances show up. And then when you go back and look at the photo 20 years from now, you're seeing your family as it was.
When you work for a family portrait or an individual portrait, sometimes you're in the studio, sometimes you're outdoors, and I see that very often you'll go to the subject's home and really kind of capture them where and how they live.
Oh, absolutely. I would say probably 80–90% of my work is on location. You know, because we all have things that mean, places that mean something to us, that we're sentimentally connected to. Even, you know, the house your child was born in. You know, it's nice for them when they get older too to go back and say, oh, this is where I lived, that's that porch I remember playing on, that's that yard I used to swing in. And that's why I love, I mean, some of my favorite shots are these kids, you know, flying up in the sky on their swing set, because it captures so much of who they are at that age. I love it when parents come in and I do a slide projection where they get to look at everything really large, because when you're going to buy a wall portrait, you don't want to look at a tiny print,
right.
You want to be able to see it large on the wall. And people come in and, you know, we get to play music and have a little popcorn or a little wine or, you know, do something, you know, it just becomes it's a whole experience to come in and look at your images. And I have my box of Kleenexes right there.
Ginger is far too modest to brag on herself, but I'm going to brag on you for just a minute here, because I want you to know that Ginger Wagner's work hangs in collections both here in the United States and in Europe. She's been featured at the White House. You can see some of her work hanging in Charlotte at the Red Sky Gallery. I mean, Ginger's work transcends photography and truly becomes artistic portraiture. And we have a really special opportunity for your family to participate in that. But even beyond that, there's another tie-in, and that's your philanthropic work. And I know that it's uncomfortable to talk about yourself this way, but I would love for you to give us a little bit of background on what you've done for breast cancer survivors and the Victory Junction Gang, and what we're going to be doing for the Shelter for Battered Women right here in Charlotte.
Flashes of Hope and Victory Junction Gang is work I've done with children who are suffering from terminal illnesses or battling cancer.
Well, what a gift for families too, at a time when they're dealing with so much grief and stress and trauma, to have something that's such a treasure, such a keepsake. Which brings us to Share a Smile. Ginger Wagner is giving your family a really cool opportunity. For just $75, you'll receive a studio portrait session and one 8x10. That's a $250 value. Plus, Ginger will donate 100% of the proceeds to the Shelter for Battered Women and Children. Share a smile. Give back while receiving something priceless. Only a limited number of sessions are available, so act quickly by clicking on the link to your right to guarantee your spot. And thanks for sharing a smile.